Grab a cup of coffee and start your day with Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life features stories to inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. Visit cyacyl.com.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Most girls at one time or another have dreamt of being a beautiful model, walking down the runway in expensive clothing, being confident and self-assured. But what is it really like living that type of life? And what do models know about healthy living that we don't? International supermodel DeAnna is here today to share with us healthy habits that models use to maximize their fit bodies, beautiful faces, and confident attitudes. She'll teach us how we can channel the supermodel within each of us. Sarah is the author of the book, Supermodel You, Shockingly Healthy Insider Tips to Bring Out Your Inner Supermodel. According to Sarah, as you adopt a supermodel mindset, life will become more glamorous, sexier, and a lot more fun. It's not about looking like a model, but about feeling as self-assured as models feel and embracing the most beautiful, healthy, empowered version of yourself. Sarah has appeared in some of the world's most influential fashion magazines, and she's modeled for designers such as Versace and Stella McCartney. She's appeared on Bravo, MTV, E!, TLC, and ABC's Good Morning America. Sarah, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Joan. Thank you so much.
Sarah, as I said, girls growing up, when I was a little girl, I dreamt of being a model. I envision it as so many other people that you spend your days sipping champagne and hobnobbing with celebrities and wearing the most beautiful, finest clothing. And is that an accurate assessment? That's what we think it's like. But what is it really like being a supermodel? What are the demands on your life?
Don't we all think that? I thought all that too. I think that is because of the supermodel era, and I believe that it was a lot like that back then. Cindy Crawford time and all the the 80 supermodels that we think of when we think of a supermodel. Today, the industry is completely different, and it'll never be like that. Those women are iconic. It'll never be that type of industry. And today, it's completely different. It's not that. It's a job. Girls work hard. It's nothing like you think.
Sarah, we're all human and we have bad days, and it's your job, as you said, to look beautiful. So when you're having that bad hair day and nothing's going right and you're feeling insecure, how do you get past those feelings and carry yourself in confidence? And the reason that I'm asking that is because, as I said, we all have those days, but some of us really let that it gets us down, and we're not able to get past it. So what are your tips that you utilize to make a bad day into a day when you have to be glamorous?
I love this because this is the whole point of the 5 keys. So there's 5 keys in the book, which is self-awareness, beauty sleep, de-stressing, modercizing, which is basically exercising, any type of exercise, any kind of movement, having self-awareness in regard to the other keys, and eating right. And all of those things affect your mood and affect the way that you feel. So, it's proven that exercise boosts your self-esteem and your posture makes you feel better. So there's all these things that models do, even at a subconscious level, that make them feel better and make them have a healthier outlook and be more positive and able to constantly go up against people who are constantly scrutinizing us and judging us and picking us apart, usually based solely on the way that we look and the way that we're dressed and all of those things. So we have these little tricks that we have ingrained into us, and that's what the book gives you. Take that from the model's perspective and use it in your own life every day.
You just hit the nail on the head. I had a recent interview with Michelle Phillips, and she spoke about how the first 7 seconds when you meet someone is when they make this judgment about you from your exterior appearance. So you're telling us that there are tips that you've learned because as models, you're in the spotlight all the time. So I want to break down some of these keys that can hopefully give people some information that they can incorporate to help deal with that exterior judgment that we get all the time from other people. So let's talk about these 5 keys. The first one being self-awareness. What does that mean, and how can we incorporate that wisdom into our life?
Self-awareness is really everything, and it's everything in regard to the other keys. So you need the self-awareness in order to have the other keys. You know, if you don't know about how self-aware you are in regard to your sleep or whatever, then you can't master that key or anything. So self-awareness is the first key. And the reason why I say models are so self-aware and able to master this key is because we have to be. We have to know, how our body language is transpiring on a photo or person to person or so many aspects, Like so many times they'll be like, suck your stomach in, even though most models are really thin, but you don't realize that your posture or something is making you look like bigger than you are, or your hands are crunched up, and so there's so many little aspects. So for models, posture is huge. So just learning these little tricks about your posture and, holding your shoulders back and keeping your core in and giving that when you meet people, when you see people, when you walk. I remind myself constantly when I walk through a door, turn it on, or when I meet someone, turn on your supermodel posture, because it affects you. It's totally amazing, but it completely affects you and it changes the way you feel. If I'm not feeling well, I turn on the posture, I take my deep breath, all these little tiny things that just kind of snap you back into it and make you feel amazing.
And Sarah, being self-aware does not mean being critical. It doesn't mean to look at your so-called flaws or things you don't like about yourself, but it's really just trying to figure out what you feel you can improve upon.
Exactly, and embracing those things that you think you don't like. So, for example, when Cindy Crawford first started, people didn't like her mole and thought that, she was never going to be successful because of her mole. Tyra Banks, they thought her forehead was too big. Lauren Hutton, she had the gap. So there's so many things that, what makes you different and what things that you probably don't like, that's what makes you different, and that's what makes you unique, and that's what makes you who you are. And you have to embrace that and love that. And we give so many examples of those in the book, models with frizzy hair, models with, just things that people don't necessarily consider beautiful or that's their insecurity. Mm-hmm. But you learn to embrace that, and that's what makes you so amazing and so beautiful and so awesome and different than every other person.
Okay, so the first key is becoming self-aware and embracing every aspect of yourself. Now, what about sleep? How much do models sleep, and what is it that you know about sleep?
Beauty sleep. We know everything. It's not just a catchy little phrase. I mean, it's totally, completely true. It's proven over and over again. And the funny thing is that people think that models are these crazy party animals and we're out, all the time, whatever. And it's not. It's if we have a job the next day, models will sleep. They will swear by it. They know, if you don't sleep, you know that you look a little bit. People will say, "Oh, you look tired today." It's like, "Oh, thanks." Mm-hmm. It's so true. You don't have the energy levels for your job. So many things. So models are constantly, focusing on their sleep. And what they don't know, most models don't know, and most people don't know, is how much your sleep affects everything else in your life, like how much you eat, your attitude, your mental state, all these things that then go to affect your body, affect your skin, affect everything. So your sleep is so paramount to your life in general, but also to your beauty, to your confidence, to your mental state, to everything.
So you also know, going probably with sleep, is the importance of de-stressing, because proper sleep does have an impact on your stress levels. What do models do to de-stress?
We have a whole section of what I did in the book is I interviewed so many models and just had so many contributions because no one person, nobody does anything the same. Everyone has their own unique things that help them, that work for them, and that's what the book is all about. It's not about Supermodel, anybody else. It's all about your own supermodel self and what works for you. And so we have all these different things. Now, there are a lot of things that we gather that a lot of models do similarly, which, a lot of models focus on their sleep like we talked about earlier, but they light candles at night and relax. They do yoga. They take walks. They meditate, but we call it model-tate. So it's not like meditation like you think, sitting cross-legged and saying Om and all these things, but it's just being conscious, being aware, all of those things. There's so many different ways, but it's just living a healthier life. People think that models aren't healthy, but they are. Most models are really healthy, especially successful models.
Well, one of the things that I found interesting was when you said that models don't exercise. I mean, to me, I picture you guys exercising 8-9 hours a day. Like, that's all you do. So what is it that, I don't know how you keep your figure. So what is it that you do to keep these amazing figures?
I joke around. We're being sort of facetious in the book about that models don't exercise. A lot of models don't exercise. A lot of models do exercise. Just like a lot of people don't exercise, a lot of people do exercise. So in my experience, a lot of models don't exercise. Like, people think they don't have gym memberships, they don't work out all the time. Some of them do. Some of them enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And so we talk about the different ways that models exercise. Some models will, and we call it modercise because anytime you're moving your body, you're exercising. So you don't necessarily have to be at the gym or in a class or with a personal trainer, but if you're out walking, if you're out hiking, if you're out playing with your kids, if you're out grocery shopping, all of those things count as exercise. So that's what we talk about. So even if you don't consider it exercise, you need to, because it actually really truly counts and contributes to your body and your overall mental state, but you have to make that mind-body connection, and there's a ton of research that supports that. If you don't actually consider it to be exercise, you won't actually reap the benefits of it.
The final key is eating, and this is the area that I really want to talk about, because we believe that, you guys eat celery and carrot sticks all day long. So
Right.
What is it that models do eat? And I'm being serious. I mean, I'm kind of being facetious, but I'm being serious at the same time. What is it that a model does eat? I'm assuming you really understand nutrition and how to make the most, how to get the most out of what you're eating to fuel your body. So what does a model's diet look like? And do a lot of models suffer from eating disorders?
Okay, I love this question because even a lot of models who are in the industry, especially when they first start out, believe the same thing. They believe that in order to be thin and in order to fit the clothes and in order to please whoever in the industry, that they also need to not eat and whatever, and that's where the problems occur. It's completely opposite, actually. When you don't eat, you either, one, develop a major eating disorder, and unfortunately it causes death and all kinds of horrible problems, or you actually gain weight. Like, if you have bulimia, it actually makes you gain weight, and if you don't eat enough, like if you're not eating quite enough that you need, you'll gain weight as well. So models do eat, and again, in the book, we give so many meal plans and so many ideas and examples of what models eat, because again, we all eat differently, and it's not all celery and carrots and all these things. But again, like I said, with the exercise thing, there are so many common things that models do.
And I think that's a real key, Sarah, for our young girls, because that's why I think so many girls are starving themselves out there, because they think that's what they need to do to be model thin. And I want to break at this point for our good life tips. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll continue talking about the importance of eating and the impact that it has on young girls. So let's take a break for this week's good life tips. Stay with us for information to help you make the positive life changes that we talk about on the show. When we return, I'll continue my discussion with Sarah DeAnna. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Our guest today is supermodel Sarah DeAnna, author of the book Supermodel You, Shockingly Healthy Insider Tips to Bring Out Your Inner Supermodel. Sarah, before break, we were starting to talk about the importance of proper nutrition and what a model's diet looks like. I was bringing up the point that I think a lot of young girls today equate being so-called model thin with having to starve themselves. And you're a part of this beauty industry, and can you see how young girls might get that unrealistic expectation?
Absolutely. And like I was saying before the break, it's something that models also share until they understand and learn. And it's awesome in our industry because people think that models are so catty and against each other, but we actually really support each other. Most of us do. And so we're always backstage talking about the new food or this healthy thing or this it's amazing. And so we don't all eat the same, but we do eat a lot of common things, and we do eat more healthy than not. Although, some models do have the occasional hamburger or the, potato chips or the candy bars or whatever. But in general, for the most part, we eat pretty healthy. And I even joke around about, eating in vain, so there are foods that are good for you, but it also make you more beautiful, like have more antioxidants and all these things. So models know this stuff. We're aware of it, and we eat it because that's our business. We're in the beauty business. We're in those things, but we're not starving ourselves. We're eating. We're nourishing our body. We love, the fashion industry is always on the forefront of what's new and what's cool and what's awesome. And so we know about what the new food trends are or the new things, and which is what we love and what I really especially appreciate about today is that things are healthier and better for you. And all of this is booming. Whole Foods is huge, and Trader Joe's, and all of these, juice spots are opening up, and all of these things where you don't see so much, candy bars being so cool, or, the junkier foods, or McDonald's, or whatever. And so that's what we're backstage talking about. Did you hear about this new juice spot, or have you tried this or that? Have you been to this restaurant with, all this amazing healthy food? So we know about that, and we're on the forefront of that. And so we share that, and then we become that, and that's kind of how we live our life. So a lot of models do drink juices and eat really healthy, but they do still go to McDonald's, and they do still, enjoy or indulge in the other things, chocolate or whatever.
I'm sure that you've met a lot of very beautiful women who don't have that inner confidence. So what I want people to understand is just because someone's beautiful does not mean that they carry themselves with what we're telling them that they need to learn how to achieve on the inside. So it's really important, I feel, from what your message is that no matter what your exterior appearance is, until you learn to love yourself on the inside, you're not going to have modeltude.
I believe that, absolutely. And I believe that when you have that modeltude that we talk about in the book, and when you have that confident posture, and when you're thinking positive thoughts about yourself and about others, you exude that. That is reflecting inside of you. It's reflecting on the outside of you, and that's what makes you so gorgeous. And even in modeling, it's funny because I'll meet so many models or people who are like, oh yeah, I don't think this model is so pretty, or I don't get it why so-and-so top model is so big or whatever. And it's not necessarily what you see in a picture or at first glance, but it's so much more. There's so many more aspects that make someone beautiful.
Loving yourself from the inside, and then you're exuding that to the world. And that's true beauty.
Amen.
Sarah, before we run out of time, give us some little tips that we can take and incorporate into our lives right away that you think would make a difference. What are some of your little beauty secrets that we need to know?
Please sleep. Get your beauty sleep. I'm telling you, that is like my key to everything. It makes you feel so much better in so many ways, and so many people neglect it. So that's probably my number one. The other thing I always say is the posture thing. Try to think about every time you walk into a room, or you're standing in line somewhere or whatever, just to readjust your posture. Think about how it makes you feel and make that mind-body connection, because it will change you dramatically. It sounds so silly, but it's huge. It's something that's really, really big. The other thing is just thinking positive. Like you'll be walking down the street or in a mall or in line at Starbucks or whatever it is, and you think like, oh, so-and-so is giving me a dirty look, or they're looking at me weird or whatever. Instead of thinking that, just think like positive things. Think that they're saying good things about you. Think that they're checking you out or whatever it is. And then the other one that I love that we talk about in the book, which is really funny, is anytime you hear positive words, like whenever you hear the word beautiful or hear the word sexy or hear the word, all these positive words, internalize them. And it's really funny because, like in yoga class, for example, they're always like, oh, that's a beautiful posture, or they say so many positive things. They're talking about somebody else. They're not even talking about me. But I'll just internalize it like, oh, yeah, they're talking about me. And then, you'll hear like someone say, oh, that's a hot car or whatever, and you internalize that to be you. And it's funny and it sounds vain, but it works, and it reminds you that all of those things you are a part of as well. You are a part of the beautiful sunset, and you are a part of, the hot car or whatever it is. And so that's how I do things, and I think that it helps a lot of people, and I know a lot of models do it too.
The book is Supermodel You, Shockingly Healthy Insider Tips to Bring Out Your Inner Supermodel by Sarah DeAnna. Sarah, if our listeners would like to get more information about you and your work, where can they go?
I have a website, sarahdeanna.com, and I'm on all the social media stuff at Supermodel You.
So that's sarahdeanna.com, or as always, you can visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on our site, read the digital magazine, listen to past shows as podcasts, take part in the book club, sign up for our mailing list, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sarah, thank you so much for spending time with us today and for writing this wonderful book. I think that the information you're presenting is going to help all of us, and I know that I am definitely going to stand up, own it, and I am going to walk around with some modeltude. So thanks for being here today.
I love it. Thank you so much, Joan.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.